G'day guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Kaitlyn and I'm an American living in beautiful Sydney, Australia. To be more specific, I'm living here in New South Wales, and a couple people have mentioned that when Mark and I start actually seriously house hunting, we should look for a house someplace outside of New South Wales. But I saw this video from the BAM Familam, 5 reasons you should move to Queensland. So I know that there are so many good places in Queensland to live. Queensland is not just Brisbane and it's not just the Gold Coast. And I'm sure a lot of you guys here on this channel are familiar with the BAM Familam. If you're not, they are a UK family who moved all the way over to Australia a few years ago. I think they've been here like, what, 4 or 5 years now? They've been here for a while. They've had their YouTube channel for a while, and in fact they even just set up a little business here in Australia. So I just wanted to share this with you guys super quick in the intro. This isn't sponsored or anything like that. I've actually never met them, but I love this idea of a family starting their own little business. So they just started their own little company. And I love this. They provide eco-friendly children's party equipment for hire. Like, how cute is that? How cool is that? And I love the idea that it's sustainable, that it's eco-friendly, because think about it. Whether you're a parent or not, at some point we've all been dragged to a kid's birthday party and you see the plastic decorations, the plastic decor, all of that gets thrown out, it gets wasted. Like, kids' parties are terrible for the environment. As cute as they are, as Instagrammable as they are terrible. And I love that they actually have party supplies for hire. Like, you're just renting party supplies. You don't have to worry about throwing things out. You don't have to worry about going to the shops and buying them. Like, I love this, and it's such a cute concept. But they also have some clothing and gifts available, and you guys know I am a sucker for anything like girly. So I did just buy this. It's not gifted. No, I don't even think they know that I bought it. They think they just saw my name and probably like skipped over that. They probably have no idea what my last name even is, if they even know me. But I picked this up. I love the packaging. Like, everything is customized. It's got their own little logo on it. I think this is so cute. And I picked up a scrunchie from these guys. There we go. I probably shouldn't talk like as I'm unwrapping tissue paper because I get so loud, but I picked up a scrunchie. You guys, how cute is this? I love these little like chunky scrunchies. First of all, as a 90s kid, I love that scrunchies have like come back as a fashion statement. Love these, but they're so cute. They come in a few different patterns. I wanted to do something neutral, so I did a cheetah print one so that way you can kind of wear it with just about everything. You don't necessarily have to worry about making sure that the colors match or anything. So let's get this on. Let's see just how chunky this looks in my hair. Like, already this looks super cute. Like, I could see it in the camera here as I'm setting all this up. Like, how cute is that? Super chunky, like 80s hair scrunchie. Also really cute as a bracelet. I think these are so cute. They also have like totes and t-shirts available. So I'll link their website down below for you guys if you're interested. Like I said, this isn't a sponsorship, not affiliated or anything whatsoever. I just think it's such a cute, wonderful idea. So I will link their website down below if you want to go check it out. I think these are so darn cute. And look, I just noticed this. It even has the little like tag logo on it. I think I gotta hide so you guys can see it. But it says bear and meerkat on here. I love that. I think that is so cute. So today we are going to take a look at the video, 5 reasons why you should move to Queensland. Grab a bicky, grab a cuppa, and let's get right into this video.
Here are our 5 reasons you should move to Queensland.
The big question is, why on earth wouldn't you move to Queensland? It's got to be said, Queensland is pretty desirable. And if you're an adventurer who loves moving to new places, Queensland should definitely be on your list. Number 1 is our subtropical climate. This means that all year round can be a sunny day and warm as well.
Yeah, we actually get 2,800 hours of sunshine every year.
See, I always thought that was like one of the drawbacks from what I've heard from people who've lived in Queensland, because not only is it hot, it's hot all the time. And because it's like this subtropical climate, the humidity gets really bad. Like, for my Americans who are watching this, like, think of Florida on like a really hot August afternoon. It can get so muggy, so humid. I've heard that Queensland is really similar in a lot of places. Because Queensland's so big, it's not like that everywhere in the entire state. But I've heard a lot of places, particularly like the more populated places, like Brisbane, the Gold Coast, the Sunshine Coast, Cairns, all those places are really humid most of the time.
283 days. Well, actually, I say that, but there was somewhere else I read that claimed that it was over 300 days of sunshine per year in Brisbane. Apart from this year is definitely an exception.
Yes.
This year has been a little bit rough.
We have had quite a lot of rain, but for me, it's watered my grass.
And apparently you can't overwater our grass, it's still alive.
Yes, that's what Mia tells us.
And really, although we have a winter, it's nothing compared to winters elsewhere. It's still pretty warm in the sunshine anyway.
Yeah, our winters are averaging probably around about the 2021 so far this year.
Yeah, during the daytime. The evenings can get a bit chilly in winter, but in all fairness, mostly during the day, it's still pretty warm. Number 2.
So if you like the warmer climate, I guess that really does make sense. I like the warmth, don't get me wrong, but I love a dry heat. Like, I don't like the wet, humid heat. I love a dry heat if it's going to be hot. And for us over here, like, winter's pretty cool. It's calm. Like, it does get a little bit chilly, especially obviously when it's nighttime. It does get really, really cold some days. But for us during the day, it's been an average of like maybe 11, 12 degrees at the coldest points here last winter. Obviously, it does fluctuate. From what I heard, I came over when it was actually a pretty mild winter. Like, the August winds weren't too bad. It didn't get super, super chilly over here in New South Wales. There were some days where it was very cold. But I've heard that over here it's actually pretty mild compared to winter in some other places. But if you want a warmer place, definitely Queensland is a place to go, especially if you want to get away from the cold, cold weather. I'm sure people from Tasmania would love to be able to come up here in like the middle of June and July.
There are holiday destinations aplenty here in Queensland.
From Airlie Beach to Whitsundays to Gold Coast to the Sunshine Coast.
And Brisbane. And even there's plenty of places further up north and inland that would be an absolute treat to go to. It's fair enough to say that every day is not a holiday for those of us who live here. On our days off, we do get to go and have those experiences, and it's pretty wonderful. People think they might get bored of living in a holiday destination. Let me tell you, you don't. But even if you don't want to holiday on your own doorstep, there are plenty of other places in Queensland you could go to.
There's so much in Queensland that personally I want to see. I'm dying to go to the Whitsundays, you guys. It looks absolutely stunning. It looks beautiful. I would love to go snorkeling in the Great Barrier Reef. Like, I really need to do like an Aussie bucket list like one day of just things that I want to do here in Australia. But I think Queensland has some of the most gorgeous places to visit on holiday. Actually, we were talking with a couple of friends, and Mark turns 40 next year. And we were kind of thinking about maybe doing a cruise or something all the way up to, was it Airlie Beach, up there, up to the Whitsundays or something, doing like a nice long weekend cruise with a bunch of friends. So we'll see, maybe that'll happen. We're still kind of just like, we're thinking about it. We haven't started seriously looking or planning. It's just kind of in the back of our minds for now. But Queensland has so many gorgeous places that I would love to see.
And you wouldn't even need to leave the state to go to some of the most amazing holiday destinations possible.
Yeah, from our white sands to the Great Barrier Reef as well. The hinterland as well is a beautiful place to go with all the waterfalls and natural beauty.
You sold it, Ben.
We did.
Shall we move it?
Maybe. And number 3 is Brisbane City.
There's a lot going on. There's many places to go, see, things to do, things to eat. Some awesome markets down there, actually.
Yeah, and if you like the old world mixed with the new, then that's a really good city to go to, because you have lots of old Queenslanders houses still there, mixed with brand new buildings that are state of the art and looking amazing.
Like,
Yep.
you've got the Brisbane River and obviously South Bank, which are stunning, and there's a lot to do down there. So you've got the fake beach, you've got the
Fake.
do we call it a fake beach? What do we call it? We've got the imitation beach.
It's a fake beach, Maz. We get it. It's definitely a fake beach. So guys, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm somebody who thinks that every single place in Queensland is like loaded with crocs, but in the river in Brisbane, are there crocs in the river? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Even if I don't ask, I know people will correct me if I'm wrong. But I heard that there are actually crocs in the river in Brisbane. I don't know if that was just somebody pulling my leg like right up there with drop bears and riding kangaroos to school, but I've heard that there are crocs in the river in Brisbane. So let me know if that's true down below.
We've got the museums. There's just a lot to do down there. It's a lot of fun. There's even a new part to the airport which now services 31 airlines. So it is one of the largest airports as well. And I still find it actually one of the cities that I can, obviously this wouldn't be every day, but want to be one of the cities that you can actually drive through and not get stuck in traffic all the time.
Brisbane has a very good flow to it.
Yeah, you can get through pretty quickly as long as there's no major accidents. Number 4 is the combination of the location that we have on the east coast, so we're close to everything, and our affordability. Compared to other cities in Australia such as Melbourne and Sydney, Brisbane is actually still incredibly affordable, although it has gone up in the last few years.
So when a lot of people from overseas think about moving to Australia, they typically think of the two big cities, Sydney and Melbourne, which is realistically one of the reasons why it costs so much is because those are the two main cities that people flock to, and those are the main cities that people think of whenever they think about living in Australia. But whenever you live in one of the bigger cities, especially because there's only like, 6 really big cities in Australia, you're gonna have to deal with a slightly higher cost of living. That's just the reality of it. A lot of people want to live there, so therefore real estate is going to be more expensive. So that's really just the way it is. If you want to live someplace a little bit farther away from the city, maybe closer to the bush, or just one of the more lesser known areas, like imagine living in Newcastle instead of living in Sydney, if I'm going to think about like New South Wales terms, or living in Wollongong instead of Sydney. It's going to be a little bit cheaper for the most part compared to living in Sydney, but it's going to be like that all over the country wherever you go. So living close to Brisbane is going to be a little bit more pricey than living on the Sunshine Coast or the Gold Coast, but also living in Brisbane is going to be a little bit cheaper because it's not the two main cities that people want to live in, at least particularly people from overseas.
In comparison to the others, it's still pretty good. Definitely now is the time to head into Queensland. While there's still some areas that aren't quite so expensive, but they're definitely going to be at some point in the future. It was important for us to not be in an isolated area that was too far from other cities.
Queensland, we're very well situated because we can just quickly jump on a plane and we could be down in Sydney or Melbourne in within 2 hours?
Yeah, Sydney I think is 1 hour, Melbourne a couple of hours, so we're really not that far away from other major cities. Unless you want to drive, in which case we're quite a way away actually.
We're quite away from everything if you want to go anywhere driving.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true, but that's if you live anywhere. Like, no matter what city you pick in Australia, it's going to take a long time to drive to the next major city. So that's really just something to factor in whenever you're moving to Australia. It's not going to be an easy drive to go from one major city to the next. Like, I think it's like a 2.5 hour drive from me in Philly to drive up to New York. It's like 3 hours from Philly to DC. There are so many big major cities clustered a lot closer together, particularly along the East Coast over in the States. You don't have that here in Australia. So if you're going to go to one of the big cities, if you want to get there relatively quickly, you're going to have to take a plane. That's just how it is.
Number 5, Queensland is amazing for introverts like myself.
Before we moved here, Ben barely spoke to other people. He barely even spoke to the people that he knew.
I barely spoke to her.
I did all the talking for us. But when we moved here, Ben had no choice but to get involved and chat to people because everybody spoke to him. Queensland is known for being very friendly. It's also known for just people just chatting wherever you are. People say good morning to you when you're passing in the street. Anywho, Ben has definitely come out of his shell since living here, and it has made a real big difference for such an introverted character to be around all these people that are so friendly and just go up and chat to him. If you haven't already booked your flights and accommodation by the end of this video, obviously you need to watch another. Check out this one.
It's a really good video. I love that point though. Like, as an introvert, I can oh my god, Ben, I relate so much to that. My husband is such an extrovert. He will talk to anyone and everyone. He will crack a joke. He will go out of his way to make people laugh. He is just that kind of person, and I am such an introvert. Like, I go into my shell so easily, you guys. So That's actually a pretty strong point for me, to be honest, especially living in a place where you might not be close to a major city. I know that they live somewhere along the Sunshine Coast, which is like, it's close to Brisbane, but like close-ish. You're not within Brisbane, you're not within the actual city itself. And I'm such a city girl at heart, you guys. Don't get me wrong, I love going to the beach, I love being out in the mountains, I love the country. But at the end of the day, I'm such a city girl at heart that I don't think I could live anywhere super isolating. But knowing that at least the locals are friendly, that you can make friends with the locals and whatnot there, that's actually a pretty big pulling point for me. And obviously I'm generalizing here, they're generalizing here, you can't talk about everybody's specific here. But being in Sydney, it feels like people are very friendly, but nobody really wants to make friends here. You will meet plenty of people who don't even look at you when you're going down the street nowadays. I mean, I heard it used to be way more of a thing to walk by your neighbor and say hello or good morning, whether you knew them or not, whether you'd ever seen them before or not. But that's so, like, it's not really the case out here, particularly in Western Sydney. That's just not really much of a thing anymore here. A couple people that do it. Like, there's a couple, like, to be honest, typically older Aussies in my area who, if you're walking down the street, they'll say good morning, they say good day, they say hello, and you just say hello back and you keep going on your way. There's still a little bit of that courtesy, but like 9 times out of 10, that's not the case if I'm walking by one of my neighbors. Like, they're so just focused in and zoned out and don't really have anything to say to you as you're walking by. Yeah, this video is definitely giving me some things to consider because it costs so much money to get a house in the areas where we'd be able to be in New South Wales. And at the end of the day, it's either pay a small fortune and stay really close to friends and family, or move out somewhere, whether long term or whether it's just like a short 5 to 10 years, and then move back down to New South Wales and try to kind of start from scratch for both of us. We're not really sure yet. And the reality is it's going to be a couple years before we have enough money saved up for a decent house payment. So yeah, that's definitely something that we're going to have to consider, whether or not we want to stay in New South Wales. But Queensland definitely has some pulls. Like, for me, when it comes down to places I'd want to live, like, and I'm just going to talk about state-wide because obviously it's tough to talk about different cities and small locations, especially because I haven't really been able to travel around Australia that much since I moved here. Like, travel's expensive, you guys. Oh my god, travel is expensive. I'd love to be able to like do a tour even just to some of the major cities and like get a chance to visit some of you, do meetups, get the chance to meet everybody, but at the same time, oh my god, airfare is so expensive right now. I can't justify that cost. But everyone's different. Everybody has their own wants and needs, and there's so many places in Australia, you guys, like so many places. So if you're considering moving to Australia, you can find something for you without a problem. Even if you like the cold, move down to Tasmania. Like, go for it. Have fun with it. There's so much out there for people who want to move to Australia, really. Like, you can't say that there's nothing out there for you guys. Just that's a bad excuse. I won't accept that that is a bad excuse to not move to Australia. There's something out here for everybody, and I love this list. It's nice seeing lists from people who live outside of Sydney and really get some firsthand experience of what it's like from people who've moved to Australia also pretty recently and what it's been like for them. It's one thing for people who've moved here like 20 years ago. Think about how different Australia was 20 years ago. It's kind of tough to really relate when people are talking about, oh, when I moved here 20 or 30 years ago, it was like this and like that. It's so different now. So seeing people who've moved a little bit more recently is pretty good. And I think my cat has an opinion on this one too. He's gotten distracted by something. He's not getting up here to say hello to you guys. So that is it for this video, you guys. I hope you liked it. If you did, please hit the like and subscribe button down below. I so appreciate the support. As always, I will link the original video below for you guys, and I will also link the bear and meerkat website. Guys, these are so cute. If you have like a daughter, a granddaughter, like wife, something, how cute are these scrunchies? I absolutely love them. So that's it for this video, you guys, and I will see you all in the next one.